Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So just like the title says, I sold my 2021 Raptor, the one I bought just a few months ago, on Cars and Bids. Today I'm going to share with you my experience using Cars and Bids and what that was like in case you're thinking about selling one of your vehicles on an auction website. Now, before we get into this video, I think it's important to note a couple things. My goal was never to buy this truck and then sell it and make a profit. That was never my goal. That truck is, it's a dream. I mean, I miss it. I miss it a lot. I think that when the time comes, and we'll get into why I sold it maybe another time, but I think when the time comes that I'm looking for another vehicle, another truck, that'll be a contender. Hopefully the markets will be back to normal and all that. So the next thing to note is that when I was beginning to sell the truck, I reached out to people that I knew, acquaintances and friends, and the dealership that I bought it from, and tried to sell it to them first. People that I knew were interested in buying a 21 Raptor and couldn't get anyone to buy it. So I did pay MSRP for this Raptor, which I know is incredibly weird. No one believes it, whatever, I don't really care. I paid $77,000 for the truck, and I sold it on Cars and Bids last week for $85,500. So I made a little money, and I really shouldn't have, but just know that I tried to sell the truck to people for what I had in it. I did not try to scalp this vehicle. I really love it and I miss it, and I wish I still had it, honestly. But it is what it is. On top of that, my goal was to never scalp the truck. I don't have any interest in that. It's just not my bag. I don't really like scalpers. But the market is what the market is, and I did try to sell it to people at MSRP before I auctioned it, without putting it on, short of putting it on Facebook or Craigslist or anything like that. I offered it to some friends, the dealership that I bought it from, and that was it. So after that, I decided to put it on Cars and Bids just to see how much I could get for it, right? I also wanted to use Cars and Bids because I'm a big fan of Doug DeMuro, and it was a funny opportunity to use the website and then share that experience with you. So the first thing that I would say is that Cars and Bids is legit. It's really legit. You can sell right now for free. I assume the buyer is the one paying the premium, kind of like you would at a real estate auction website, or real estate auction, sorry. And so for sellers, it's completely free. When I first got on Cars and Bids, I was looking at the listings that were on there, and it was a little intimidating because these people had the people selling their vehicles had these really awesome descriptions that started with this, Doug DeMero's intro thing, if you know, you know, and it was really intimidating. And so I thought, okay, well, whatever, I'll just copy one of them and, make my listing the best that I can make it. And as it turns out, the people behind the scenes at Cars and Bids working there do all that, and that's why all of their descriptions look so good. And then, of course, in hindsight, that makes sense. They get paid based on how much the vehicles go for, and so they want their vehicles to go for top dollar, obviously, right? And they also want sellers to come back and use their services again, so that makes sense. So really all you have to do is log on and basically answer a few simple questions, and they build your listing for you. And I'll show my listing, and so I can show you how it came out. Now, luckily, I didn't have service records yet or anything like that. I did have a few modifications. I line-X'd the bed, if you remember, and I added the decked drawers to the rear of the bed as well. So there wasn't really too much to say. I drove the vehicle 8,006 miles, and there's a few other questions about your ownership history and options, but as long as you include a picture of the sticker, or you really know what options your vehicle has, they build the listing out for you. Now, I did hire someone to take professional photos of the truck so that it would be presented the best way possible. I probably could have done it, but why take the chance? For $75, I had a buddy that does real estate photos for me back when I lived in Bowling Green, take the photos, and he did a great job. And like I said, it went off without a hitch. Now, the auction goes live on a Friday or a Monday, and they go for a week, so 7 days, which is pretty normal. And just like any auction, things hit kind of at the beginning and then at the end. There's not a whole lot of action going on during the week, so there is a little bit of anxiety there. Now, I did have a reserve on my Raptor, And my reserve was simply what I had in it. It was the sticker price, and if it didn't go for that, you know, what's funny is if I decided in my head that if it went for anywhere close to that, probably within like $7,500, I was going to pay the difference and just eat it and just get rid of the truck because circumstances demanded that. So that's where I stood on that financially. I wanted to make what I had in it, and I thought in this market there'd be no reason that I couldn't do that. So at the very end, the truck started exploding, and I got a little bit of footage of that when I was in Nashville at the time. I didn't have my camera with me. I had left in Atlanta, which is where we are now, and I was in the process of moving, so I used my iPhone. So I'll include some of that footage. Basically, at the end, what happens is there's a 60-second countdown for the last minute. You know, like I said, the auction lasts a week, and on the last 60 seconds, there's a countdown bar that ticks. And every time there's an auction, every time there's a bid, it goes back up and starts the 60-second countdown over. So it was really intense at the end, and like I said, I ended up making a little bit of money, and I actually sold it to a dealership up in Ohio. So I suppose they're going to mark it up even further and try to make a buck on it, whatever. That's not my business. But all in all, I want to say that Cars and Bids was a very legit experience. If you have a car that you're trying to get rid of that's maybe a little quirky, that's a little funny, it's from the 1980s and up, I believe that's as far as they go back for his website, that would probably be a great place to do it. And my favorite part of using the website was that they took care of everything. You know, the guys behind the scenes wrote the listing, and you know, they made it look pretty, they organized the photos, and all that. So, you know, all you got to do is get some photos made, take some videos with your phone, upload them, and they take care of the rest. You can also ask them to, like, you know, annotate things or add certain things. Like I offered to have the car completely from top to bottom professionally detailed for the new buyer. Given that it was a dealership, they said they didn't really care. They were going to do it anyway, and it didn't matter. So great, I could save a few $100, and so I didn't do that. But those are things that you can add in. You can put a reserve on it, but obviously, you know, no reserve auctions are the most exciting. And in hindsight, I wish that I had done a no reserve auction because it met the reserve, but I was just a little bit scared. But with that said, I would use Cars and Bids again. I kind of hope I never have to, because I don't like selling vehicles that I love and I want, you know, that I worked hard to get, and vehicles that I got good deals on, but it was what it was. Basically what happened real quick is that I moved, and I just we didn't have a need for two vehicles, not for right now, not when I can't work at the capacity that I was working. We're essentially living on one income, and it didn't make sense to have an $80,000 vehicle. So now we're back in the 2011 Altima, sharing it. Actually, I'm stranded in the apartment because she's at work. So that's why the truck's gone. I miss it. I want another one. The Ranger Raptor just got announced, and I love it, man. It's like a small truck, a smaller or mid-sized truck with Raptor specs. So I'm assuming the suspension, the engine, a little bit souped up. So pretty exciting, but again, it's just not the time. Yeah, it's not the place. Someday though, I will be looking for another one. So to close this video out, Cars and Bids, yes, I recommend it. Don't be scared of Cars and Bids. They take care of everything. They're very, very responsive, and I would use them again. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.